shaking?
Hey, nothing. Glad to be back on the porch.
I'm glad to be back on the porch because I feel like I have been missing like deep conversations. Don't you like? I don't know. This is food for me. You know what I mean? This is food for me. Like, y'all already know my routine on listening to our episodes and things like that. But it's also so therapeutic because the things we talk about is so relevant. I don't know. Y'all do a lot for me. If I ain't never said it, y'all do a lot for me.
And I get to be myself because in the world, I act like I really think like everybody else. I'm like, oh, yeah. Here I get to go, I ain't got it together.
Yeah, because like, you know what thing about when you got to work, you got to be like,
you code switching.
Yeah, I be trying to be, I be like, okay, don't say nothing, just shake your head.
Right.
But yeah, I get to go, nah.
Well, we get to have honest girl talk. It's just girl talk.
Absolutely.
It's girl talk. And when we met up in Richmond, it was really delightful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had a ball.
It was really delightful, and it was so constructive because we got so much done. And it just made me think like women, when we put our minds together and there's no BS coming along with it, there's no competition. We are just like
Right.
just having conversation of what we want to see next. You know what I mean? What people want to hear, yada, yada, yada. And it was worth it. It was really worth it. And I look forward to us meeting up, during this year too, and doing something for Christmas, doing something for spring break. You know what I mean?
The
Things
spa.
like that. And the spa, Soho Spa. I'm telling you guys, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. But I ain't gonna belabor it because this is a good one too, and it kind of made me reflect when I was a child, not a tiny child, but like, early teens. And my mom and dad used to have different outlooks on like your looks, your vanity and things like that. Like my dad was really the person that would be like, make sure you have good sense. Good sense, you know what I mean? And you keep trying to grow, you know what I mean? And if you don't, beauty will only get you so far. That's what my dad said. My mom used to be over here saying, don't go out that house with your head not combed. Got something on them little crusty lips, you know what I mean? Got some Vaseline on them knees, you know what I mean? Keep yourself looking cute all the time, you know what I mean? And so I took a little bit from both parties, but as you get older, you kind of think about the reality, because we are in the reality, aren't we? We are in the later stage of our lives. We do more, like I was joking on the other episode, taking vitamins, doing this and doing that to keep ourselves, looking good. So the question today is, Keisha, you want to say what the question today is?
The question today is, do cute or pretty or attractive people get a pass?
I don't know why.
Do they get a pass?
I think they used to.
Okay.
I don't think so much anymore. Because, I've always been told pretty fades.
Dumbass.
It sure does. And when it fades, it be bad.
But dumb lasts forever.
That's forever.
That's what I was saying. That's what my dad used to say. You better have some brains in your head. You know what I mean?
You're better, but it's also not about how you keep yourself up. I was the worst person as a young person about I'd go out of the house in a minute in some wrinkled clothes. It used to drive my mother crazy because that wasn't something that I cared about, right? So are they clean? Do they smell? Let me put them on. I was very much a tomboy. So, I didn't have to have it very pressed. And I remember my mom saying to some friends one time, that's your friend. You let her go out the house like this? But I mean, and it came later on, right? When I wanted the appearance to be a certain type of way. So I would say with that, the people who were my friends because they really were my friends because of
Great
my
friends.
personality, right? Not because of the high-end clothes I wore or, you know, anything like, because that wasn't the case, right? So I feel like that's why my friendships have lasted as long as they have, because it wasn't based off of something so superficial. You know, body was banging 20 years ago. Now I got the menopause middle and, you know, all of that. So, but I've seen pretty, and I see that pretty doesn't get away with what they used to get away with, because with plastic surgery, everybody pretty. With filters,
Mhm.
everybody's pretty.
That's
So
probably a big one right there, because what you can do now for yourself to enhance yourself
Yeah.
is more common than when we were younger women. You know what I mean? But to what I would say is that I think pretty will get you in the door, but pretty won't make you stay and make you retain what you're looking for. I think a lot of people get that little boost because they are pretty. You know what I mean? Because let's keep it real. If someone thinks that you're unattractive, you know what I mean? Even think about going on a job interview. If they think they're judgmental, you know what I mean? If your girl ain't right or something like that, they may get that pretty girl to come in there, and that pretty girl is not even able to do the job. You see what I'm saying? And yo, dude, look, in his front probably was the person that could have reconstructed the whole business to make it successful. Because I mean, isn't it easier to look at somebody really quick and just sum it up? You know what I mean? And say, I think that pretty goes along with having brains, and that doesn't absolutely mean that. So, my opinion, I think that pretty can get you in, but it pretty won't retain you, and that's me, Keisha.
I think that pretty will get that you can get a pass with being pretty, but like you said, it has to be some substance. You have to be able to back it up. Can you back up what you're doing? And also it depends on the nature of the job that you're doing.
Right.
You know, about the attractiveness the attractiveness of your appearance depends on that. So yeah, I think that, but my question related to that would be, is that fair to be judged on it, whether you're pretty or not? Is that fair to be judged if you can do the job that whatever the job is that you're hired to do?
Well, let me say this. When I was younger, and Chauncey remembers, when I was younger, I wore braces, okay? I actually wore braces twice. And I remember, even though my dad was saying pretty won't get you there and there, buck teeth ain't gonna get you nowhere. So I need to get your teeth pulled back in your head, okay? Because you sat under that table sucking your thumb since you was 2. Now your teeth is sticking out like a can opener. So you know, if people see you like that, they're not even going to have a conversation with you. And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? I said the same thing about my kids, because when they started in that age where my daughter used to suck her thumb, like let's make the first thing people think when they see you is that it's pleasant to look at you. You know what I mean? It's pleasant. So I don't think it's anything wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? That making yourself look presentable. Like I always say this: if you missing your teeth, like, and I see you driving in a Benz or something like this, I'm gonna have a problem with you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have a problem because you could have saved that car payment and made a payment plan with the dentist. You know what I mean? And that's not being vain, but that's just that's reality. That's my thought. So Celeste.
So I want to say a couple of things. I remember in corporate America seeing some people get passes because they were what they considered pretty for whoever's enjoyment. Really wasn't to get the work done.
right.
Everybody else was doing the work, but the pretty person was for the enjoyment of whoever hired them or whoever. And sometimes I remember them knowing that they didn't know nothing, but their job was just to be pretty. I just never understood how is it that you make decisions based on how somebody looks, because the longer you live, the longer you know, there are going to be some things that you go through. It doesn't make you less of a person.
Right.
I mean, my hair fell out twice. I still was making board moves. I mean,
exactly.
You know, so, and then you get these jobs done and they don't get done right. And then you know, you got a moment where you're trying to get your, you know, broke out with a rash. I mean, I don't want you to treat me different because you haven't even let me open my mouth to show you what I know or to make this business happen. So I guess I see it like Chauncey say, but I don't see it. So it depends on what time. Look, I do notice the difference in the newscasters. Remember before they all was cute. Now I'll be like, I can hear the news, but I can't look at you.
So think about the airline stewardess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
totally different.
you had to be a certain height, a certain weight, you know, a certain color. It was a whole bunch of things that was involved in that. Now when I go in there, I see the oldest living Negro as my doggone.
Well, they need to be a certain weight. Because they be knocking my shoulders off when they go by in the airplane.
But you know what? That all came from lawsuits.
Yeah. It did. And here's the thing. Same thing with the hiring of the pretty, right? So because some of the pretty was very smart, right? But they played dumb to get what it was that they needed. But they was the first person to go and sue when they didn't get what they thought that they deserved.
Absolutely.
So and so the thing is, it's not just the workplace and, you know, all of that. Yeah, it's a little bit easier, but now we're living in this virtual world, right? And you're only seeing people from here up, whether it's a job interview or whatever. So then now you have to rest on your laurels as opposed to your quote unquote looks, because anybody can beat that face.
Right.
Maybe not so much for men, but
I know, because y'all see Facebook when they do them makeovers, I'd be like, see, you're gonna be catfish real quick.
So and then, you know, we talked about AI previously on another episode.
Right.
I just saw one of the girls that I follow on Instagram, and she was saying how she had to do, you know, some portraits for law school, and she used AI. And when I got finished going through them, and she said AI was 20 of the 25 photos was AI. It just really, it really kind of hit home or whatever. And like I said, it's just a matter of, I know back in the day, you used to get people out of tickets and stuff like that, and you would flirt a little bit and all of that. But people's feet are being held to the fire when it comes to jobs and other things like that. So, you know, you can be as attractive as you want to be, but if it has to do with somebody's livelihood, they're not putting themselves on the line anymore.
Right.
So the moral of the story is, be cute, but have a brain.
Yes.
Have a brain, and if that don't work out, just go to AI.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
That's a good one.
Be cute in whatever field, if it's required for the field that you're in,
yes,
could possibly be, right?
Yes.
Because truth be told, Keisha, you're a teacher, and I respect all teachers, but I have this thing about too cute, too pretty, too young teaching high school, because that's where them lines start to be
get blurred. Yes.
And you know what I mean? So
I know a couple people got jail terms because of that.
Exactly. So it's not that they're not good at what they're doing. It's not that they didn't go get the education that they needed to do the job that they do. But now you go back to the school district you grew up in, and now your little sister is, you know, and her friends or their friends, and they calling you by your first name. And when you think about all of that, and it's like, yeah, but you don't have to worry about that with the not so attractive teachers.
I know y'all didn't ask me, but I was just thinking it in my head. So maybe that explains a lot of my problem, because I'm not saying ugly, because I don't think anybody's ugly.
Right.
But that person who's disshuffled or who's not really polished is always my go-to person. Because, and I know this sounds crazy, I'm opening up a can of worms.
No, you're not.
I believe they just got so much in them. You know, whether they're paying attention to everything else besides their looks, I don't know, maybe it's that. But usually those are the ones that have all of that insight and all of that information in my world that I'm in. Sometime I'll be like, wait a minute, they go, him? Yeah, call him over here.
And that's like how much personality they have.
And it's just something about them. They're like, God, I'm so glad you asked. I can build you a whole skyscraper. I mean, like, Zap, I told you, that was the one.
So don't you think it's because what we are saying, pretty, cute, is getting the passes, and the ones with people who have considered them to be not that attractive, or maybe not made, like you said, disheveled or something like that. They have been judged, and people kind of stray away from them. You know what I mean? But like you said, you get so much out of that person because you can see their potential, even if they don't even see their potential. And that's a good thing, because look, we ain't here to knock somebody who's pretty. You know what I mean? That's not the whole point of it. You know what I mean? But the thing is,
yes, it's relative, right?
Right.
Yeah. Celeste made a valid point when she said people used to hire them for the enjoyment of that particular person that hired them, right?
Right.
So what else was the rest of the team getting out of it? And we are talking from a work perspective, you know what I mean? Yeah, it fades, right? And you find out how ugly they are, or you know, they can't keep up.
Or if you're pretty and you have an ugly inside, you realize
Oh,
it's just a
talk
terrible
about it.
person to
You
be
see that more
around.
often.
Period. Yes.
Talk about it.
Ugly inside does not make
They've been fed for,
or they
Yeah.
act like they're victims. You know what I mean?
Right.
They act like they're victims. So yeah, I think this hits on point. You know, nothing wrong with being pretty, because that's what we all want to be, looking at our best selves. You know what I mean? And our
Correct.
best selves is what we should judge ourselves to be, not no one else. That's the most
Right.
important thing, I think. You know what I mean? If you think you look good, sister. You
That's
look
it.
good. Like, and all us sissies look good. All right. Okay.
we appreciate the compliment.
That's right. We
Yes.
look good. And we got brains. And
Yes.
we are successful women. So guess what? We ain't worrying about what them other people doing who pretending. They look good and they pretending. Because I will call them pretenders, the catfishers and all that other stuff like that. Because eventually you're gonna have to prove what you can do. So, you know what? So I think this was a good episode. So we'll do it again next Wednesday. So joining me today is,
Well, it's your girl Celeste, and remember, taking care of oneself is not selfish, it is necessary.
yes, it is.
Do all the good that you can in all the ways that you can for as absolutely as long as you can. This is your girl Chauncey, and thanks for checking in with us.
This is your girl Keisha, and remember, if you want less stress, stay out of other people's mess.
Absolutely. So have a wonderful week on purpose, and we'll see you again next Wednesday. Take care.